So I am here tonight to teach a semester in about an hour. So hang on. Yeah, it's free. Oh yeah, semester in about an hour. And Clint asked me, when he told me what he wanted me to do, he said, is that enough time? I said, heavens no, that's not enough time. So my job tonight is to teach you, thank you, how to teach preteens to teach. Okay, that's a
oxymoron.
Yeah, and a bad sentence because I'm using the word teach several times in it. So that is what we're going to do. I'm also, just let me tell you a little bit. What I do for my church is we have L.I.T. at my church. I go to Hillcrest Baptist Church in Cedar Hill. I live in Grand Prairie. I live in the Dallas area. And my job in the L.I.T., our L.I.T. group is I'm the mission trip trainer and the mission trip coordinator. And so if you have any questions about what we're doing tonight, I'd be more than happy to tell you how we actually do our training at our church. I'm very, very, very convinced that children need to be prepared. Would you ever, ever, ever walk into an adult Sunday school class to teach a Sunday school lesson on a Sunday morning without being prepared? Yeah. No. So then why in the world would we send our little 5th and 6th graders out into a park situation or an apartment situation when we have not prepared them? That's just not even fair, and it's not biblical either. So now that you've heard I got a lot of stuff here. Now that you've heard my passion on that, we'll get started. I need 3 volunteers. Okay? Okay?
Just a second, I gotta get
Okay.
a sip of coffee. Yeah, I was
Okay.
gonna say when you clear the burritos out.
Okay, I need for you to go outside and shut the door with your friend, with the other male friend here. Go outside.
Outside the door?
Yeah, go out and just shut the door for a minute. Don't listen, that's cheating. I would be listening, that's why I say that. Okay, when they come in, I want you to explain how to make a paper airplane.
Seriously?
Seriously.
Okay, good. Because I don't know how to make one.
Okay, so
that's
you have
even
to
good. That's okay.
So you need to describe to them how to do that.
That's ought to be good.
Okay, will you
Okay.
hold this for a second?
Sure.
Okay, you can come back in. And I want you to stand back here behind the podium.
Okay.
Okay, so I need for you to stand here in the purple shirt. What's your name? Purple shirt? What's your name?
Ralph.
Ralph. Okay, have this. And Ralph, look at that wall. Okay, the mission kid. I'm a mission kid. What's your name?
Kelly.
Kelly. My daughter-in-law is Keely. That's pretty cool. Okay. Now then, what is your name?
Cindy, I'm Cindy.
Cindy is going to give you some instructions, and so you need to follow her instructions. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, Kelly and
Ralph.
Ralph.
Oh, excuse me.
Here
Don't look.
we go. You're going to make something with this piece of paper. So let's fold your paper lengthwise in half.
I got my dog.
And don't talk. Only Cindy is talking. Ralph.
Now the fold that you have in the center, you see that hopefully. You're going to take one of the edges, which is running vertically, and fold it over to the center line, the fold line.
You're good.
Now that you've done that, take the other side, the edge, and fold it to the middle fold. really good for a girl to be able to.
Don't make any comments.
Don't make me- Okay, now we have. Okay, now we're going to take one of the, and it doesn't matter which short end is the. It's just going to take your whole hour.
Go ahead.
One could be the top end, short end, and the other could be the bottom. Top, bottom, it doesn't matter. So take the top, and we're going to take the top corner, we're going to fold it to where there's some semblance of a triangle into that middle fold.
You're good.
After you've done that, take the other corner at the top and fold it in to make a triangle. I don't know what yours looks like, but in my mind.
Are you finished? Are you
Okay, now.
you got to do another thing?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna fold some more.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, now we're gonna make a, can I say what we're making?
No.
I can't say
Oh
what
no.
we're
Oh
making.
no. No.
Okay.
No. 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 No.
Now we have a pointed arrow-like thing. Now we want. Oh, I'm sorry, God, it's your word. Okay, now we're going to take part of that long side and fold it kind of to make a little lengthy fold in the middle, not in the middle, about. And you got a middle, oh, I know, think about a middle fold on the lengthy part.
Do one more instruction and I think we're finished.
On the other side.
Okay.
To where it should look like.
Okay, don't say it. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Okay, now turn around and let's see. Y'all, Ralph and Kelly, turn around and let's see what it is. Okay, turn around, Ralph.
Thank you.
This is supposed to be an airplane.
I thought it
That was good.
Yeah, you were on the right road, but that's a hat too.
We're in church, it must be a house.
Yeah, well,
A
yeah,
triangle?
yeah, good. Okay, thank you very much.
Keep it.
Yes, you get to keep it. It's your prize. The point of that is, so many times when we teach children, they are sitting and we're teaching and they're listening. Okay, so when I'm teaching children how to teach, I have a system. But before I do that, I want us to read 3 scriptures from the Bible. One, I'm going to Colossians 3:23 through 24. And I'm reading from the New Living Translation. The reason I read that is from the New Living Translation is because it's a translation that that children can understand. I would not do deep theological study with it, but it is a translation, not a version. Okay, so Colossians 3:23 says, "Work hard and cheerfully at what is wrong with this verse." There's nothing wrong with the verse, but if they've never been, and most of the kids that are going to come to our VBS or our Kids Power Camp are kindergarten and first graders. So what is the problem with this verse? It's too long. There's too many words. Exactly. So I did that on purpose. So what I do in my memory verse, and I don't know what Clint does, but in my memory verses, it's the Roman Road. So on Monday, they're learning a verse from the Roman Road. On Tuesday, they're learning a verse because they are learning before when those kids, if they attend our Kids Power Camp for 5 days, they've learned 3 different ways the gospel has been presented to them in 3 different ways. And so, so my memory verses are the Roman road. Okay, let's say it again. Arise, Jerusalem, let your light shine for all nations to see. For the glory of the Lord is shining upon you. Isaiah 61. Okay, this game is called popcorn. We've just read the verse together. So you go around the circle with each child saying a word. You ask the child to jump up as they say the word, like popcorn. And you repeat it several times. There's another sentence that's not important. Okay, so what I want you to do, guys, is this is the Bible verse that we're going to learn. And so you're going to start with, I forgot your name. Mickey. I know I've seen you before. Anyway, they're probably L.I.T. stuff. Okay, so Mickey in his group, he's going to start, and he's going to say, arise. And then Andrea's going to say, Jerusalem. And then Sherry's going to say, let. And when you say it, you jump up. And you go around. You even say Isaiah, this is one word, Isaiah 61. And do it a couple of times. Now, when I say go, you start. Okay, who are the leaders of who's going to start in this group? Who's the leader? Okay, you're starting leader. Amy's going to lead. Amy's going to lead. Okay. Who's the leader over there? Okay, you're the leader. Who's the leader? Okay. Okay, Mickey's the leader over here. Ready, set, go.
Arise.
Light shine upon Isaiah 61, all nations. 2. See. Glory of the is your shining
Okay, so it helps them move. There's some kids that need to touch words to learn. And so it's like the child that can't learn their multiplication tables until they march. It's the same thing. They're touching the words, and that's important. They're moving. They're getting an opportunity to learn God's Word in a fun way, and that is important. I didn't say entertain. I am not all about entertaining, but enjoying, because if they enjoy the day, they're going to come back tomorrow. We want them to enjoy learning God's Word. Very, very, very important. Okay, so another thing that I do is when you're teaching preteens to teach children, they need to be comfortable in praying. So when we first start our training, I will ask for volunteers, and then I begin to call on people to pray. Just at the beginning, at the end. I mean, it's not like we don't pray every hour or anything like that. There's no magic formula. It's just that they need to understand when they go on this trip, they're going to have a time that they're assigned to pray. So it's very important that you call upon them to pray, and they need to do that out loud. Because there's some children that have a hard time doing that. Now, if there's a child, when they realize what's going on, and if there's a child that you know for whatever reason that you don't need to use them in prayer, or orally, then you do the right thing. You make sure that child's not called upon. It could be for various reasons. Okay. Next thing, I want us to talk about telling the story. Why is it important that your kids have the stories for the whole week before the week before you go on your trip. Why is that important?
Practice.
To practice. And I also tell them to practice in the mirror. Go to the bathroom, shut the door, and practice. Because they may be doing something that's like touching their ear or something, and they don't realize it. So they need to watch themselves. I'm trying to figure out, I know I can't ask my children's minister to buy 70 mirrors, but I really want 70 mirrors because I would like to do this Sunday. And I know it's too late to ask her now for 70 mirrors, but they need to own these stories. They need to feel comfortable in telling the stories, because see, if I'm standing there and I'm gonna read the story and I might not know all the words and can't read very well. So today I want to tell you about the very first people that God created. Do you care to listen to me? I don't think so. So you just want to give these kids every advantage that you can, and that means they need to be working on these stories long before you go on your mission trip. It's very, very important. The other thing that's important, using the gift, you can have one child that's holding the pictures from the gift. The other child, it could be a script like what I'm going to use in just a minute, but there needs to be a Bible open, okay? Even if their script is inside their Bible, there needs to be a Bible open. Okay, you guys have been around in church a long time, and you've been working with kids for a long time. Can you tell me why the Bible needs to be open?
So they know what's
So to know it's the Word of God. I was several years ago in Chicago, and I was there for a children's spirituality conference, and a friend and I think I'm ringing, Clint, so this is ringing. A friend of mine and I went to Willow Creek. We went to one of the satellites, and this is not a negative thing towards Willow Creek. That's just the church that we were at. Well, it is going to sound negative. So we went in, and they were meeting in a school, so we were real interested. You know, we were children's ministers, professors. We were interested in what the dynamics of the school were and all this stuff. So we go in and we listen to Bill Hybels preach on the big screen. And I had my Bible with me. And when we left, I turned to Kelly and I said, Did we use our Bibles? And she said, did we pray? And we went through a whole worship service without praying and without using our Bible. So if I was not a believer, see, I wouldn't understand that the pastor was speaking from the Word of God. It's very important that the Bible be apparent. Okay, so another thing that, as this is difficult, I struggle with how to help kids practice these stories. It's a struggle for me because it's a struggle for them. And how do you do that? Do you get in a group like you are and you have an adult and everybody tells the story? Yes, I've done it that way. That's not how I'm going to do it Sunday. Sunday, the way I'm going to do it is I will get up and I will read the story. Because they need an example. So I'm going to read the story. And then I'm going to put them in groups of 3, 1 adult and 2 kids. 2 L.I.Ts, 2 children. And what they will do, the job of the adult is going to be to sit there and keep their mouth shut. You know, that's the thing about the L.I.Ts. We as adults, we get to go and keep our mouth shut and not, you know, and they tell us what to do. Because we're enabling kids, and that's important. Anyway, so then what's going to happen is they're going to have their scripts, and we're only going to work on one story this Sunday, one story. And it's going to be the story of creation. And I'm going to have one child will read through the story to the other child, and then this child is going to read, I'm visual, can you tell? Then this child is going to read to this one. Okay, this is a story that most of these kids know. So then what we're going to do is the first child is going to tell the story from his own words. He's already read the script, has the Bible open, and the listener is going to take notes about what would help my friend do a better job teaching. Well, you need to look up. You were looking down. I couldn't hear your voice. Okay? So the critic is not the adult. The critic is the fellow student. And then they're going to switch roles. I'll tell you how it goes. I think it should go well because it's helping the storyteller and it's helping the listener. And it's helping the listener become a better storyteller. Do you see? And so they've got to, in order to learn this, they've got to practice. They have to do it. So another thing that I do on our mission trip is we have coaches. So when the kids are dividing up into their, on the morning when you're getting your supplies ready and you're doing all of that, then we have 3 coaches. One is to coach the personal testimony. One is to coach the storytelling, and one is to coach the child that's in charge of sharing the gospel that day. And so they practiced it. We'll practice them again. They've told it in their own story. They've criticized, a good thing. And then they will practice it the night before we go on, before the next day, and then they will practice it again with the coach. And then when they are there in front of children and they're scared, they've practiced it many, many, many times. They need to own that story. And so we're going to play a game, and so I'm going to read the story to you. Today I want to tell you about the very first people that God created. Genesis 1:1, it says, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. God also created all the animals, plants, trees, insects, and people." Now, our tendency is sometimes wanting to be sarcastic when we're telling a story because we want to be funny. There's no sarcasm should happen. And you've got to tell the children that. Because see, when I got to the word insects, I was like, oh, insects, don't you wish that he hadn't created fire ants? Okay, no sarcasm. It's got to be passionate, exciting, without sarcasm. Let me see where I am. The first people that God created were Adam and Eve. God made a beautiful garden where Adam and Eve lived. They took care of all the animals and plants just as God asked. See, I haven't practiced, so I am having to look down. So I should get bad marks. But because you're letting me practice, then Sunday I'm going to get good marks because I will have already practiced, so thank you. So God also told Adam and Eve about a special tree in the middle of the garden. He said, "You may eat the fruit from any of the trees in the garden, but you must not eat from that tree." Then one day a serpent came to Eve. He asked her, "Did God tell you not to eat from all the trees in the garden?" Eve answered, "God said we may eat from any tree except the tree in the middle of the garden. And he said if we eat the fruit from that tree, we will die." The serpent said, "That tree will not hurt you." Eve looked at the tree. She thought about what God had said, and she thought about what the serpent said. She made a choice to eat from the tree. Eve took Adam a piece of the fruit. Now remember, we need to stay theologically correct. We know it was a piece of fruit. We don't know that it was an apple. Do not let a child, when they're practicing, say an apple, because they have become accustomed to that. Okay, because that's what commercialism says. We need to help them stay theologically and biblically correct. So if you catch them saying that, when you ask them to say it in their own words, stop them and let them know. No, in the Bible it says it's fruit. Okay. Eve took Adam a piece of the fruit. He also chose to eat the fruit. Adam and Eve knew immediately that they had sinned or disobeyed God. Then God came into the garden. Adam and Eve hid because they were afraid. God already knew what they had done. But God said, Adam, Eve, where are you? Did you eat from the tree in the middle of the garden? Adam and Eve knew they had made a wrong choice. They told God what they had done. God said to the serpent, "You've done a very bad thing." Then God turned to Adam and Eve and said, "You disobeyed me. You must leave this beautiful garden. You will have to work very hard for the rest of your life. You will have to plant trees and gardens for food." God still loved Adam and Eve, but they had to leave the beautiful garden because they disobeyed him. Now, in your coaching with children, you need to help them have effective pauses. You need to help them learn that silence is okay. Every time we're coaching, no matter how many times these kids, and we do this too, have said the story, they say it fast. Even though they're from Texas, they still say it fast. So you always have to say, slow down, slow down. And I have some L.I.T. Adults that will take a sign and that says slow down, and so they're in the back and they're holding this sign up so that they'll remember, because when we get nervous, what do? We talk really fast because we're nervous, because we don't like to be in front of people. And so anything that we can do to help them is what we want to do. Okay, we have 15 minutes. Does anybody have any questions so far? Okay. Next we're going to play a game, and I need one Bible in each group. You're not going to use the Bible except for to pass it around. This is like musical chairs, and so one person is going to pass the Bible around. Just pass one Bible around. Not your phone, Ralph, your Bible. I know, it's mine too. Okay.
I know, I was like, there's mine.
And seriously, let's talk about, I'm about to...
Mine's pretty beat up.
Well, that's a good thing. That means it's been used.
Don't be afraid.
When you're out, wherever you are, we've done L.I.T. mission trips in very wealthy neighborhoods, which I tell you is a real downer. Wealthy people won't bring their kids to the park for you to do Kids Power Camp. But anyway, so we've done it with wealthy kids. We're going to the inner city of San Antonio this year, which is unsafe where we're going. We always take policemen with us. I'm sure y'all do too. Because they work in our church, not because we hire policemen to go with us. They work in our church. That's always a question I have for when we're talking to churches about where we're going. I ask them two questions. One is, do you have a problem with our men carrying guns? Because they will be carrying, because we have policemen that work with us, and the answer is usually no. But anyway, so we're going to a part of San Antonio that's really not good. So you don't want to pull your iPhones out for a lot of reasons, but you don't want to pull your iPhone out to read the Bible. Okay, I just did that a while ago, because that's not God's word to those kids that don't know. So don't do that. Don't do that. But it's easy to do. I do it all the time. I do it every day every time I'm in chapel, because I don't want to sit by a theology professor and have to look up the book of Obadiah, so I just use my cell phone. Anyway, that's a joke. You can laugh. That's sarcasm. Okay. Do what? Oh, yes. Oh, well. Now Dr. Queen knows why. When I sit by him, I use my iPhone. Okay, what you're going to do now, once again, I would read the instructions to my... okay. This is called Musical Bible. The children are seated in a circle. A Bible is passed from player to player around the circle while the music is playing. So there needs to be an L.I.T. in charge of starting and stopping the music. Musical chairs, like musical chairs. When the music stops, the person holding the Bible gets to answer a review question. Not has to. See, gets to. Okay? Playing the game several times helps the children learn the Bible stories. Okay, boys and girls, what you're going to do, this is like musical chairs. So you're going to pass the Bible around, and when the music stops, I'm going to ask you a question from the story that I told you today, or that Mark told you, or whoever told the story that day. Now, here's another thing. They might not know the answer. So what do?
Someone to help them.
Everybody helps. That's right.
Okay.
So everybody helps. So you can say that. So if you get the Bible and you don't know the answer, then just say, I need some help. And make it okay for them to not know the answer, because that's how they're going to learn. That's how they're going to come back. Okay, so get a Bible ready. Let me get my iPhone backward to the music off the Bible. Hang on just a second.
You mean to put the music on for your Karen?
That's okay, because I'll have to turn it on and off.
Probably still have some stuff in there. That was not in instructions.
Okay, here we go.
I'm going to go this way.
Philippians 4:12 and 13.
Okay. The question is, who created the heavens and the earth? If you just say it to your group. Okay, here we go. It's great to clap too. Group kids on.
I know what it is to be me. I know what it is to have plenty. I have learned the secret.
What was the name of the first man? Very good. Okay, let's do it one more time.
Be content. In any and every situation.
Okay, I have 14 questions, so I'm going to the last question. Because you play, and that's another thing that you need to help. I think, what do you call your teenagers now, Clint? Salt. Okay, we still are on the CITs, the old lingo. Your teenagers can also help in this in transitions, or if they see that the kids are getting bored, then you can help the L.I.Ts by getting the teenagers to walk up and say, hey, let's move on to the next activity. So an adult's not doing, that's our method. You do it however you want. But that means that they're not looking to adults, and we're also preparing our SALT, or our CITs, to be leaders. And so we ask our CITs, SALT, to help in the transitions. And so if you see that you've played that too many times and you're the adult, I would walk over to a CIT or a SALT and say, hey, why don't you go tell them let's wrap this up. Okay, we just have a couple of minutes left. So the question I wanted to ask was, who were the first sinners?
Adam and Eve.
Very good. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so if you look back at your planning sheet, and many of you have done this, set up. In your time to help them be successful, you need to explain how to set up. You need to explain the person that's going to do the records, how they do that. I think I've been with Wedgwood before when they let their CITs do that, and that may be perfectly fine. The first day or Sunday of your mission trip is not the day to learn the songs. So you should be learning the songs. So what I do in my planning sessions when I'm teaching preteens to teach, I'm going to, depending on how much time I have, I'm going to pick one or two things that are of very importance. Okay, so the very important things are presenting the gospel, telling the Bible story, personal testimony, memory verse. Well, no, I'm not going to count. The memory verse is important, but I'm not going to count it. So the three most important things are presenting the gospel, the Bible story, and their personal testimonies. And so this Sunday, we're going to work on Bible stories. Last time we met, we were there for several hours, so we worked on presenting the gospel and their personal testimonies. So in that, what we do is I will come in, we'll say a prayer, I won't say a prayer, an L.I.T will say a prayer, and then we will do a game. I have icebreaker games. Icebreaker games are the games that you play with while the kids are coming, okay? And so I'll do an icebreaker game. And then we worked on our personal testimony. Another thing that you can do is you make lines, you make 2 lines where they're facing each other. And make it where you're far apart from, like if Mickey and I were on this side, then we're kind of far apart. And I did this, I can't remember. Let's just say I did it with personal testimony. Okay, so when I say ready, set, go, then I'm looking at Mickey. And I'm going to say my testimony to Mickey, and he's going to say his testimony to me. When I, as the leader, discover that everyone has given their testimony, then I say, it'll be like A and B. So I'll say the B side needs to move down. So what happens? That means one person is at the end, doesn't have a partner, so they come to the it's like a relay race, okay? So they come to the end, and I say, ready, set, go, and they're telling their testimony again. You can do that in a circle, and you can do that when they're telling their stories, but you've got to make space between them so they can concentrate on the person across. It's more bothersome to adults than it is to kids, by the way. And the adults have to do that. The adults have to do that if we do that in participation. So, I think that I've given
Can you
you...
give an example of
Yes.
icebreaker?
Oh, an icebreaker? Yes. An icebreaker would be, Sunday we're going to play this game called Set.